Gene Gowan with the Chatham Journal. Eric Andrews with, what was the name again? Real Estate.
Realty World Carolina Properties.
Realty World Carolina Properties.
We've been here for a while.
I know, you've been, shoot man, you're probably one of the oldest real estate
Think
companies on the street, aren't you? Here in downtown Pittsboro?
Yeah. I think we're one of the oldest in the county.
One of the oldest in the
Yeah.
county.
Yeah, 2000, May of 2000.
And you don't commute to Chatham County, you live in Chatham County.
I live in Bear Creek. I live southwest of here. So.
All right, we're not gonna give you the exact address,
Thanks.
because we don't want you being stalked. All right, look, we just wasted a whole minute that no one's gonna watch this part of it. The thing that, we do this about every quarter, and the thing that came up, and you've heard it and I've heard it, is people are like,
Where do you get your stats?
exactly, where do you
Yeah.
get your information, where do you get your numbers? And it's like, look, we're not feeding you fake numbers.
No.
Where do you get those numbers from?
I mean, it's a multitude of sources, and so I think it's important that people realize that you can look at numbers different ways and get different answers. And so, like, we were just at the Chamber of Commerce meeting,
Yeah, the development briefing.
and somebody said, well, the average house is like $675 or $680, and we've said $725 before, but then they said, well, they were doing resale and they were taking out new construction, and so that can make a big impact, because the average new construction right now is probably $900, believe it or not. That's the average.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too, because that came up at the briefing.
So anyways, I'm on the Orange Chatham Association of Realtor. I'm on the board of directors. I'm also on the governmental affairs committee. And the reason why that's so important, that really where I get a lot of my information, is our congressional representation gives us direct access to U.S. Census data that is the Census Bureau and the U.S. Commerce Department gives us up-to-date information all the time. So I find that to be, really, really accurate information. Right. I'm also on the North Carolina Association of Realtors Commercial Board. So that doesn't help us as far as residential is concerned, but that's a valuable resource to me to see what's going on throughout the state with commercial numbers, like average price per square foot rental and lease rates, and average construction costs for commercial building. So
When you say commercial, what exactly do you mean?
So commercial is non-residential. It includes raw land, and it includes all commercial improved, like shopping centers, office space.
So everything
industrial.
on this strip here in downtown Pittsboro.
Yeah. So you better know off the top of your head, downtown Pittsboro, 1750 triple net. You need to know those figures like off the top of your head. And then I'm on the Chatham County Planning Board, and Jason Sullivan, the planning director, does a great job of keeping the planning board informed. And the planning department of Chatham County has a great relationship with the UNC School of Government, and they are phenomenal, and they have a wealth of resources. So they're not pulled from air, is all I'm saying. And when you get multiple sources like that, you get multiple numbers, and sometimes I speak in the average or whatever of what I'm seeing, but I feel as though you can argue the minutia of the data, and you can change the numbers by putting in or taking out something or whatever, but I feel as though we're given like good raw data.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't understand the difference between a median home price and an average home price in the county, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we do this about every quarter, just so that
Yeah.
folks are aware of it. And since Eric's on top of this kind of thing, we've gotten positive feedback. And again, we take the questions in stride. Where do you get these numbers from? So
Right.
now you know where you're getting the numbers from.
Yeah.
Quick snapshot. We're here in first quarter 2026. We're actually March 26, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
How do you compare this quarter from a year ago, first quarter 2025?
So a little tiny bit of an uptick as far as number of sales and the price, but not like the crazy growth that we had in years past or whatever. So modest growth. We're talking like 1 to 2% year over year, but still appreciate. I mean, there's a lot of talk about prices are going down, and I do think that there's more wheeling and dealing. Inventory is still short. So another stat that I had was like 550,000 nationwide homes for sale, and that is an historically low number, like the lowest it's been in years and years and years. So inventory is still low, and we can talk later about all the reasons why inventory is so low. But pretty much the number of transactions are roughly the same as last year's slight increase, and the pricing is roughly the same as last year's slight increase. But it seems to be like the prevailing notion, oh, prices are going down. Now, I think what happens is a lot of agents and sellers have just expected a 2 to 3% increase, and so they might price the home on that, and so people are seeing price reductions, or they're seeing homes not selling for full price as often. But when we look at the data, it's a slight increase, 26 over 25.
So your prices here has gone up a little bit there, but there were the expectation by some real estate folks that it may actually be here, and now they're having to say, hey, you know what, maybe we're a little bit too optimistic about the numbers.
And one of the, and I'm guilty of this myself, one of the reasons is because inventory is still so sparse, like we're all eager to have that inventory. The sellers are kind of like aggressive, you know, this is what I need, this is what I want and everything. And because there's so little for sale, I think a lot of real estate agents that, you know, will say, well, okay, well, we'll try it at that. And then it might sit, we'll have a price reduction, or they'll take less than the asking price. But when you look at the actual close price in 26 versus 25, still a slight increase.
Okay, days on the market, I mean, that's always a
Yeah, so that did go up.
consideration.
That did go up. I mean, we're not in the crazy days of like, you know, multiple offers, 5, 6, 7 days on the market. That's not happening. It got all the way up to over 60 in some areas around the county and the surrounding counties and everything. I think our average right now is just over 50. You'll still hear of things that hit the market that are multiple offer situations, but those are, you know, special properties, cute little things that everybody wants or whatever. But average days on the market right now, approximately 2 months. I think we might have talked about this before, but the natural breaking point for absorption rates and inventory.
Absorption rates.
Okay, so absorption rates are like if there's 25 homes on the market in a neighborhood and 5 are selling per month, you have a 5-month absorption rate.
Gotcha.
And so the magic number or the magic days is 6 months, 180 days. And so if we get so spoiled here because, you know, I just got through saying we're at 50 days right now. So that's still a market that prices are appreciating.
That's 2 months versus 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So 6 months is like the break even. So when you start seeing days on market go over 6 months, then you're going to see some depreciation. And, you know, I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. I thought real estate prices only go up. I have seen them go down. They do go down, and it's, you know, it's a scary thing. It doesn't happen often. We're really, really lucky to be in the market that we're in, but prices don't always go up.
All right, but you mentioned earlier on, I let you slip by, you said, except for some cute little things. What's an example of a cute little thing?
You know what I'm talking like.
No, I don't. That's why I asked the question.
Like an 18 to 2,400 square foot home on 2 acres.
Okay.
And you know that probably will compound at like 4.25, 450, and boom, that might go for like 475. It's just that's just something that.
And it's still under the average of what most folks are getting here, so that's why that kind of thing goes.
Yeah. If our average is 675 to 725, I got to be more careful about my numbers now. 675 to 725 is our average, or our new construction average is getting close to $1 million, which is a crazy number to me. But yeah, we have so little for sale under 500 right now, and that is, you know, that puts quite a strain on what people can afford.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that, about workforce housing a little bit later on. We got a bunch to cover today, so folks, thanks for watching. If you want, you can post comments, and this will be on YouTube, and we'll also have some shorts on Facebook, so you can just go ahead and post your comments. Growth drivers. It sounds like
people want to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Disney.
Is it because you're here?
No, it's not because I'm here. No. I mean, people talk about our climate. You know, 3 hours to the beach, 3 hours to the mountains, our sports, our schools, our higher education.
Yeah, Michael Smith brought that up at the briefing, the fact that you got, 40,000 students within that proximity here in Chatham County, and what he said, I think a quarter to half of those want to stay in North Carolina.
Our medical accessibility.
Just down the road.
Just down the road. Well, several though, every which way.
Right. Plus, you have the was it CCCC has their sciences building down the road as well.
Yeah. Our crime rate is good.
Oh, great! Now you're going to tell everybody, and then we're going to have the criminals go, "Hey, we got to check out this new territory."
I mean, we check a lot of boxes. I can tell you that for the longest time, it has been Florida and Texas, and then it was South Carolina and North Carolina. Now North Carolina is ahead of Florida and Texas as far as U-Haul and who's moving here. South Carolina is still number one, but North Carolina is a close second. And also, as a place to do business, North Carolina has been ranked number one for quite a while.
Well, it helps that we're on the East Coast versus Texas and Florida. We've talked about that, where you get halfbacks who decide Florida's a little bit.
We get a lot of that
too warm for them to decide, hey, I want a place that has some changes, and we had some snow this year, so, and we also had some rains. We were just talking EDC. Mike Smith was mentioning that North Carolina was number one for business, and a lot of businesses are moving into this area.
Yep.
We'll talk about Winfast, and we'll talk about Wolf Speed later on a little bit. All right, appreciation and market behavior. Signs of stability versus continued growth.
I mean, I don't think things are gonna, if we're looking at the crystal ball for 26, I don't think we're gonna have skyrocketing prices. I have to say, war is not good for business or real estate. That makes everybody a little bit uneasy. So it'd be nice to see things have some solutions and some finality. What's going on over in the Middle East? Along with that too, this is basically a commuter neighborhood. A lot of people live here but don't work here, and so they're still driving. And gas starts getting around $4 a gallon. People get a little bit worried about how much.
Yeah, I noticed here in downtown, it's $3.79 today, and I think I saw one somewhere further out that was actually up to $3.99. And if you went by the new Circle K that has not opened up, they were testing out their signage, and they had $9.94, which no.
You took a picture of it, and everybody in my office was showing your picture.
No, it was interesting because if you didn't know it wasn't open yet, you kind of may have taken it seriously. Although I think in California it's $8 a gallon.
I think I paid $3.85.
$3.85
yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, and so and then interest rates too. I mean, we got below 6%. We're hovering above 6% now, and everything. Who knows what's going to happen in that regard? But that's a big factor as well.
But you and I talked before we started that 6%'s kind of been a historic average.
It's a little bit below the historical average.
I remember when I bought my first house, it was 12%, and again I refinanced. But
and I speak to plenty of clients that have spoken of 18, 19% interest rates. For
that was Jimmy Carter, I think. Yeah, I'm that old. We're going to talk a little bit about interest rate impact, because that's not only impacting what you're paying, but also folks that are in homes right now that have lower interest rates that are like, I don't know if I want to buy.
Why would you do it? Why would you give it up? Like, you must really, the only reason why you're moving is because you have to move, because, I mean, it is a tremendous difference giving up a 2.75 and a 3 1/4 and going to a 6. I mean, that is a stick in the spokes right now. It is. We have these normal cycles of change where people move up and downsize, and nobody wants to give up that low interest rate.
Well, I know some people I know that might have considered downsizing a few years ago, and
but
it's
why?
like, no, it's
why?
like,
and it's probably a good decision. I mean, it doesn't help real estate, doesn't help the whole economy or whatever, but you got to think of your economy, and staying put is probably a smart choice.
Yeah, but if your wife decides to do some renovations in the house,
that can get expensive.
I'm not naming anybody. All right. Let's talk about, I think every time we've talked, every quarter that we've talked about, we talk about workforce housing. And when we refer to the workforce, you and I have kind of noted just the policemen, the firemen, the teachers, just regular
medical
folks.
Professionals.
Yes.
Public works people.
And the thing is, the gap is still there, because you see, again, gap between income and home pricing. If you're looking, what do we decide? You're 3 times whatever your income
I mean,
is.
that is a really crude method, but yeah, that's
Well, it's
triple what you make.
It's easy
Yeah.
for people to know.
Triple to quadruple, multiply it by 3, multiply it by 4, and that'll give you an idea of your affordability range.
All right, so if I'm looking and I think you said the average price at the homes right now is about 600K, is that right?
725 is the average.
725.
My
So if
dad-
I divide that by 3, we're talking about
I mean, we're 150,
250 actually.
Well, divided by 3, that's 250,
Yeah,
yeah.
250.
Or close to it, yeah.
And so that would be a household income. So if
Yep.
you're a single person, you're not making that much. You're
No.
not getting into the average
No.
price home.
No. So we got those people being displaced out of the community.
Right.
So they're either going to far western Chatham County, which is not bad. That's where I live. I like it out there. Or Moore County, Lee County, Alamance County, or Randolph County. But you're certainly not going north and east of Chatham County
Right.
to find that affordability. You have to go way north. You go like Person County, Franklin County, those areas or whatever. But Orange is pretty expensive. We all know Wake is pretty expensive. Johnston County's not the great deal that it used to be.
It used to be, yeah.
Yeah, and even like Harnett County used to be out in the boonies, but there's a lot of Harnett County that's gotten pretty pricey now too, because it's just so close and convenient.
I think a few months ago, when you were on the planning board, and we talked about this briefly, is you've got a cricket setup coming in.
Yeah, Kristen Chapel Church. That's still in Chatham County, but
it's in Chatham County. But
close.
the thing you mentioned, and we talked about it, and I've talked to several folks, is the fact that they bought it here. Is you're going to have folks from Wake County coming here because they couldn't afford that piece of land in Wake County.
No. I played for the Raleigh Vipers a long time ago, 20 some odd years ago, and we brought.
What is the Raleigh Vipers?
It was a rugby team. And
for a minute, I thought you were going to say it's a cricket team.
No. But my point is that we were practicing at Lions Park, right in the middle of Raleigh, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want you here anymore. You guys got to get your own land and everything." And so we bought land on Pool Road, which I was like, "Man, we're having to drive forever, and it's so far out in the country." And Well, Pool Road is part of Raleigh now. I mean, and to have that facility there, they were good to lock that in way ahead of time, and I bet you the same will be for that cricket.
So how good were you as a rugby player?
If I was good, I'd still be playing. No, I'm too old.
Don't they have like an over 60 old
I don't know.
senior rugby team?
I'm not doing it.
You're out there and with your or actually you guys can run around in those carts that they have at Walmart.
Yeah.
We're not going there. All right. First time buyer challenges. So we just basically touched on that.
Now, nothing. I mean, hardly anything under 500, and when we get stuff under 500, people need to know that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FH, like most of our loan programs, the homes have to be in good or fair condition.
Right.
And if they're in poor condition, it might be acceptable to you, but the lender's not want to get a loan on it. They have some FHA programs where they'll give you like a rehab loan, but that's a lot of work. So a lot of these homes that are under 500 right now need work, and that's cash out of pocket, and it's just too hard for most buyers.
Yeah, when your money's tight. You did mention this. We're here on the 26th of March, and you were at a meeting. Why don't you let folks know what's going on with the Chatham County properties here in the town of Pittsboro, because they're moving operations to outside of town, and what is
it's
what
going to
are
take
the
a long time.
discussions? Some of this is just it's
real preliminary,
right.
But Chatham County has secured property outside of Pittsboro and is going to be moving some of its key office spaces further out off of 64.
Right.
And so, we're talking about schools, law enforcement, and just general government like tax office, register of deeds, stuff like that.
So wait, the sheriff's department is even moving, because they moved into the old school building. Are they moving as well? Maybe, okay.
Maybe. Like, I don't want to speak for anybody, but that's the plan. And so also the plan is that Chatham County is going to be giving that land to Pittsboro, and Pittsboro needs to think of uses for it. So I'm on several advisory committees and boards with the town of Pittsboro, John Foley came in this morning, and this is just a preliminary plan, nothing like, but I really respected his vision. He's talking about where the law enforcement building is right now, and they would make that into a mixed-use condo building where you would have condos on the second, third, fourth, maybe fifth floor, and retail on the first floor, parking in the back, parking decks in the back. And he said that, you know, pricing was coming in roughly around 200,000. Well, guess what? That's a number that works. We've already done the math. That is great for teachers, fire, police, medical,
So
public works.
that fits that workforce shortage,
Yeah.
housing shortage,
Right.
where you can actually have,
And it's an ownership situation. So they're
Right.
building equity. They're part of your community. They're walking downtown. You know, there's going to be a lot of pedestrian improvements in downtown Pittsboro. And so I thought that was a great idea to be able to, I mean, what a fortunate situation we are in Pittsboro is to be in a situation like that where we can have workforce housing.
yeah, the neat thing about it is if they set up over there, it's not a situation where you have to drive everywhere, you
Right.
can walk everywhere.
And that's what we really want. We want to keep the downtown vibrant and healthy. You know, we've got some great examples like Apex and Hillsborough, if you see what they've done and everything. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm biased or whatever. I think Cary's doing fine now, but Cary didn't do a good job for a long time. So I think they've turned it around. But you remember how Cary used to be like that. It was a donut hole of a wasteland of a downtown in the middle.
Right.
They finally corrected the problem. I'm not a huge fan of what they've done with Franklin Street and everything. I think that's a little too busy, I think. You know, but they have a green belt situation around them, so they had to go
Right.
vertical. I think there's a lot of good people. I think the town manager, Jonathan Franklin, Teresa Thompson, there's a lot of good people that are working real hard to make sure that the future of downtown Pittsboro is going to be strong and vibrant.
Yeah, I saw Teresa at the briefing. went over there and said hey to her and let her know she's doing a nice,
Very
she's doing a nice
enthusiastic,
job.
high energy, and
I don't
she
think I've ever
really
seen
cares.
her, except when she had lunch with the three guys from Pittsboro. I never think I've seen her with a frown on her face.
No.
Also, I think we may have talked about this, and I don't think we talked about it on camera at one time. There's a height restriction here in Pittsboro, isn't there, as to how tall your buildings can be, and it's not
Yeah.
necessarily a footage thing. It can't be. You can't
Yeah.
build a building that's higher than
The courthouse.
the courthouse.
Yeah. And so, you know, there might be some changes going on with that because we do have a situation where the elevation of the land drops away.
Right.
So you don't want to say, oh, you can't do more than 3 stories or whatever. If the elevation drops, you might be in a situation where you could go higher because it's not going to encumber line of sight or view.
Okay.
Yep.
You might be living in a basement.
Who knows?
Just kidding.
Who knows?
Yeah, but there are cities where you have storefronts on the first floor and then buildings above it, and they use basement for storage and supplies for the business. All right, folks, we're going to take a break right back. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Don't go away.